Ricky MYT2. Okay, I'm Ricky. The first time I took a class with Rose Aaron, I feel like I tap into something sublime and kind of like metaphysical. I just feel like I was practicing yoga for the first time, and not just like funky poses. And it was challenging physically and whatnot, but then I was like, oh wow, the way she teaches gets me in a deeper meditative state, and where I could actually get inside and get like a close relationship to my body, my thoughts, my awareness overall. So I've been chasing her around for 2 years now. Actually, it was kind of very casual. I didn't know if I I was certain, I think, that I was not gonna take a training with her this year, because the training I wanted to take with her was anatomy. And then I think one of my friends signed up, and then Dre, whom I've been taking trainings with for like 2 years now, he signed up, and I was like, oh, I guess I have to do this. Like, there's no way around it. So it was kind of like, what would I second guess this? Rose is, I think Rose is a true giver. Sometimes when I take her class, I feel so honored and so fortunate, because I'm like, she doesn't need to be doing this. Particularly the last 2 times I took master class with her, I was like, wow, it's incredible that she just like pours all this knowledge and wisdom and just like gifts to her students, for it just comes from a deep place in her heart, I'm just like, I'll take it. So I'm really intimidated by Rose. She still to this day, 2 years after, I'm like, oh, there she is. Starstruck. But it's nice to be able to ask her questions now and be like, oh, this is another aspect of yoga that is more healing than how asana is taught in a lot of places. It's been a very beautiful journey from my first ever class with her to my last class. She was always very tender and like very, I felt held from the very beginning. Something has switched in the last 2 years. It's almost like she's embracing you and guiding you and holding your hand, something that I didn't necessarily felt as much the first class. But yeah, I feel like, one thing that I really love when Erin teaches, sometimes I'm so locked in that I'm closing my eyes and whatever, but some other times when she's taking a pause to explain something, I just look at her in the eye, and she's just like gleaming with light, and I was just like, that's my teacher, let's go. I was kind of like paying a different type of attention today during her lecture. There's this beauty of acknowledging ignorance on any given subject, and so far that she's so knowledgeable and she has read so many approaches and translations of Yoga Sutras. But and she has her own practice, but when she doesn't know something, I don't know. And I feel like that's so valuable, and that a lot of teachers will shy away from being so honest and transparent. I don't know something, and I think having that in a teacher as a student is like, oh, that's what it is about too. Like not knowing, so you can also. It's beautiful that your teacher doesn't just hand you out answers, because now it's your journey, your quest to find your answers, you know. Meridian yoga therapy is a very accessible way to study your body with your mind. It's a way that you can tap into the deepest parts of your body and kind of like dissect them to understand what's the underlying, for me at least, the underlying hindrance, or I'm digging for little treasures of trauma, and little yes, almost like a scavenger hunt. It's like, oh, when I do this, fear comes up, and this part of my body is closed off, and when I dig into that sensation, this emotion, this memory, this other thing shows up, and I'm like, oh, this is what I'm actually tapping into. So learning that through meridian channels and sensations in my organs, and something way deeper than alignment and fascia, which all those things are important, but it's just something different. Well, I haven't received acupuncture that much, but the combination of meridians, TCM theory, and practice in yoga asana, I feel like it just adds an element of depth that not many other traditions that I've practiced have, because it taps into parts of the body that you don't necessarily use to achieve a pose, right? Like if I don't necessarily need my heart to push my sternum up to achieve like whatever a wheel, like it's not something many teachers will cue, or just the feeling of it is not something many teachers will cue, especially if a lot of people are looking in yoga for a workout. I myself looked for a workout in yoga for many years, and I got it, but like anything else, it gets old, because then a workout can be anything. You walk, you swim, whatever, and the fact that yoga, and particularly meridian yoga therapy, opens the door to this self-discovery. It's starkly different from anything else that's offered out there. Yeah, I don't use. I wish I use. I do sprinkle MYT in a lot of my classes, but I also like to offer my students like a physical anatomical challenge. The times I've used the MYT approach in my classes, a lot of people are like extremely touched by it, and you can see in their faces that they are shaken. Like, what was that? Because it's metaphysical, it goes beyond everything. And I use MYT a whole lot in my practice, because I do want to tap into that the blockages and the emotional stagnation. I do think that it has made my body more open. It probably has made my mind more open, and maybe not just more aware of like where things are locked, but to be accepting of these things, being like, oh, this is part of me right now, and my body changed today, and the other day I could do this, today I could do this other thing, or today I couldn't do that other thing that I was doing the other day. And being like, yeah, that's okay. Well, because now it's not. When the focus is on feeling, the pose finds its way into your body, because you're, for me in my practice, when I practice so adamantly and like engagement based and like achieve, pursue, these things, I'm putting my body into submission, like submit to my will, so we can get where I want to get. When the focus is on feeling, it's like I'm taking a friend that also knows parts of the path that I don't know. So the body finds its way into the pose, and the pose just appears, and a deeper version of the pose appear, and an easier version of the pose appear with less effort, like, holding a long camel for so many people seems unfeasible, but they're trying too hard. When you just feel the camel, there is nowhere to go. You're just feeling, and then the body's doing what the body does. But if you focus on your feeling and the awareness of whatever that pose brings to you, literally nothing to accomplish. The accomplishment is happening, You're doing it. That's it. Oof. Okay, this is a tough one. I'm gonna say a very hard pose. When I practice, I think the first time I ever practiced Vashisthasana was with Rosa Aaron. A very physically challenging pose that, had I thought too much about it, it was never gonna happen. But because I kind of just like felt my way into the pose, I found myself eventually into the pose. And that was the thing. It's like I wasn't thinking about like, oh, I need to achieve that pose because it's an advanced pose. I've been practicing for so long or whatever. It was just like, oh, I hear what she's saying. I feel it in my body. My body needs to do this for us to go deeper, and it just did, and then it was just like, oh, but she doesn't. I think even the very first time that I came to the yoga house, I felt like I was in for a treat in a way that I haven't felt since I've gone on a silent meditation retreat, which is something that I hold as something very sacred and very like intentional. A lot of yoga retreats are painted like this beautiful vacation. I am not the person for those things. And this feels like a very intentional place to grow and face and find versions of yourself that you cannot find in many places. I've made so many fires here, and you know, every time I make a fire, it's like a new me, a new fire. You know? But also, it's like it's almost ritualistic. It's like I'm making this fire with the intention of sharing this beautiful, meaningful moment with my friends, and sharing the warmth and sharing the. I don't know. I was just looking at the fire and I was like, wow, there's so many things that just looking at it you can get, you know, like so many insights that would immediately come to you. But everything here is that, you know, like her class, the stars, going on a hike 15 minutes away, you know, walking to town. It's like, and there, the fact that we're in the woods, you know, like seeing deer anytime you go for a walk, or bunnies, or hearing an owl in the middle of the night is like a deeper connection into. It's almost like we're all sharing an experience that's beyond all of us, you know. Yeah, yeah, this place is cool. Okay, that's a tough one because sometimes I feel like I'm a loner, many times. So the retreats the trainings I've taken have a large group of people, and I feel incredibly overwhelmed by large groups of people. So it's almost like my mind by default goes into this mode of like, I'm gonna connect with these 3-4 people, and it's gonna be very deep and very meaningful and very real, you know. And in the back of my head, it's like, I hope everybody else is doing the same, you know. So I don't know. I just got here a couple days ago for this training, and I remember my last training last year, and I'm like, oh, I miss these people. These are my family, you know, like. And even now with Typhoon, you know, I never shared a training with Typhoon, but I was like, I've known this guy forever. But also taking trainings with people that I've taken trainings is like, oh, we're still walking the path together, and that's where it's at, you know. Well, I will share what happened with my friend. Uh, I saw her last maybe 2 years ago, and I told her about Rose Erin and how I would love for her to take her training, and she texted me. Uh, so I told my friend 2 years ago to take the training with Rose Erin, and she texted me a couple of days ago. I'm so grateful for you to have shared this with me because I don't know if I would have found it otherwise, but it completely changed the way I practice, and it completely changed the way I teach. So, but I think that's also everybody that steps in this place, you know. Like, I look for Erin because I wanted to learn how to teach Yin from someone very experienced, and it changed my whole. Like, I didn't just learn how to teach Yin. I learned how to practice, you know. I learned how to practice yoga. So it was after 15 years of practicing yoga. uh, yeah, this is everybody that's trying to know themselves a little bit deeper should do this, you know. Not just teachers, like anybody.